So Derek, a Tesla owner in Langley, British Columbia, had brought his 29-foot RV home from storage and parked it in front of his house. The next morning, it was gone.
He said it was like waking up out of a dream. I wasn't sure at first. I kind of saw nothing and couldn't remember. Did I actually bring it home? Am I waking up here? And 10 seconds later, it hit me that it was actually gone.
Yeah, after checking his Tesla Sentry footage, he realized he had caught the theft on video. 2 people had come that night with a pickup truck and stolen the RV.
Derek shared the Sentry Cam footage on social media and with the police, and luckily, the police were able to retrieve the RV by the end of the day.
Yeah, Derek said an officer recognized the truck and RV thanks to the video captured by the Tesla.
They even found other stolen RVs at the location from tips they got from the Sentry Cam footage. Detective Tesla strikes again. He can be anywhere, at any time. Detective Tesla catches the culprits in the act, red-handed.
He went from an American detective to a British detective.
He's all
of them, right? All right, it's time for our Going Green segment, where we're going to be talking about a study that shows that Model 3s emit 65% less CO2 than Mercedes C-Class.
So usually the Going Green segment is about a new company installing, solar chargers or getting EVs. Why does this study belong in this section?
Well, you know why it's in here? Because for companies to switch to EVs, they have to understand how beneficial EVs are for the environment. And there have been a lot of misleading and downright wrong reports about EVs. Well, now we have a well-researched scientific study that shows where those previous studies were wrong. And it turns out EVs are better for the environment than ICE cars, like we've been saying all along. So this new study from Eindhoven University of Technology compares the lifelong greenhouse gas emissions of electric cars with the emissions of cars using gasoline or diesel, and they found that many earlier studies were severely flawed in their assumptions. For instance, they exaggerate greenhouse gas emissions of battery production. That's a big one. They underestimate battery lifetime. A lot of those old studies assume electricity will not get cleaner over the lifetime of a car, even though it will. Or they'll use laboratory tests that are paid for by manufacturers themselves, which you can't really trust. Also, they exclude or downplay fuel production emissions. So when you're making gasoline, you put a lot of energy into making that gasoline and a lot of greenhouse gas emissions into transporting it and refining it. And lastly, they ignore the larger system.
And so all of these factors combined, where you can just kind of fudge the numbers a little bit if you're trying to make EVs out to be the bad guy, can make EVs look horribly worse for the environment than buying a really not very efficient gas car. And that can completely change people's minds because they go, oh, look at this data that shows, I guess electric cars are terrible for the environment. I mean, it's tricked engineering explained. It's tricked Adam ruins everything. It's because they fudge all of these different segments, and that basically leads people down the wrong road into being like, oh, I guess EVs suck.
So let's compare here on this chart a Model 3 to a Mercedes C220D. And as you can see, instead of taking years for a Model 3 to pay off for itself in terms of CO2 emissions, it only takes 30,000 kilometers.
Right. And this is assuming that you're plugging into a regular old grid.
Right.
If you have solar panels on your roof and that's how you're charging your car, or if you pay for solar or wind energy, or if you, like, for instance, live in Montreal and you have pretty much 100% hydropower, that's all renewable energy that you're using to power your car, which means that you don't even have to be driving it for that long for it to immediately be carbon neutral.
And what's really important here is that a lot of other, like you mentioned, YouTubers, but also reporters will find some research online and then they'll base their whole findings off that research. And so if they say, well, EVs aren't that great, here's the research I found, then that's what they're stuck putting in their story. So it's important that we share these kinds of reports that have more updated, accurate research. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching Now You Know Clips.
You can watch full episodes of Tesla Time News on Mondays and in-depths on Fridays. Just click the link down below to head over to the Now You Know channel.